Hi guys, good evening. It's great to be back again. My name is Vaibhav Srivastav. I'm the CEO of Abrico Luca Soccer Club and I'm hosting the ninth episode of Luca Life. Today we are doing the club special and we are featuring a guest from a club that has been dominating the ISL right from the outset. They have consolidated the spot and they have been there ever since. So this guest of mine, he has been associated with them for 5 6 years. He was there in the I League and he's here again in the ISL as well. So I'm going to invite him now. His name is Mr. Imran Khan. He's the Assistant Operations Manager of ATK Mohan Bagan and he's also an AFF Match Commissioner. So we are going to talk to him today and we'll try to understand what his routines are. So Imran Bhai is here. I'm just going to send him a request. Hopefully he will be here soon and we can kick off this session. Yes guys, I can see your messages. Thank you for all the love and support. Believe me, uh, your support has been a great source of motivation. It has been backing us right from the start, and that is what has motivated us to do more and more episodes. So we will be featuring more and more guests, and today we are doing the club special. So I'm inviting Mr. Imran Khan. He's online, I can see him. He will join the session in minutes. Fajis. Hi Imran bhai, good to see you.
Hi, Vaibhav. How are you? Good to see you too.
I'm fine, I'm fine. Good evening.
Thanks for inviting me over here. It's been a pleasure.
Likewise, likewise. Imran bhai, can you give me a second? Uh,
Of course.
this side of my Bluetooth is not working.
Okay.
I think it's off. Yeah, it's on now. All right, Imran bhai, thank you for taking your time out and featuring in today's episode. Thank you very much. It means a lot whenever people come and uh, join our episodes, explain their side of the story. We are
Thanks.
always
Thanks for inviting
uh,
me.
right, and we are always motivated by the insights and by all the information we perceive from our programs. So Imran bhai,
Definitely.
before starting the program, I will like to explain you how this is going to be structured. I've got some questions here. Okay, I'm going to ask you those questions one by one, and once you are done answering the questions, we'll take some live questions. Okay,
Okay. Okay.
so we'll. I think your network is slightly
Yeah.
disturbed.
Yes.
I can see you
Yeah.
properly.
You can see me now?
Yeah, it's better now. So I
Okay.
said we will do both pre-recorded and live questions. Okay, we will answer both of them. All right.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. So are you ready? Shall we kick off?
Of course. Yes. Yes. I'm ready.
All right. So Imran bhai, this is something which I do routinely. This question goes first, no matter who the guest is. So I'm going to follow the same procedure. I'm going to ask you about your journey. How did your journey start? Can you please brief us about your background story? What made you choose football as a profession?
Basically, when I just did my BBA, I was just trying for any ordinary other job. So my uncle, who was associated in Mohammedan Sporting, you must be knowing him. So he was there and we were having a discussion. It was like all of a sudden he told me that there is a requirement in a club in football. So what are your thoughts? I said, okay, no problem. I'm ready. So he introduced me to Mr. Sumit Mukherjee, who is ex-India international. And from there on the journey started. So I joined Indian club and instantly was given the task to do the second division preparation because that time Arian was doing well in the Calcutta Football League and they had applied for to play the second division league. So they needed somebody to take care of the documentation and everything. So I plunged into it. It was not like that I was not into football. I was a regular watching Calcutta Football League matches from Salt Lake Stadium. So somewhat the family was in football because of my uncle, most importantly. And then again, this opportunity floated in, and I said yes, and that's how it all started. So it was something like all of a sudden kind of a thing. It was not planned or it was not thought of. So generally, it was just a sudden thing which happened.
Right, right.
And
What year
then
are we
from
talking? Yes.
yeah, yes, you go.
I asked you, what year are we talking about? When did you join this profession?
It was in 2011 March, so it will be almost 10 years. Coming March, it will be a decade in football.
Fantastic.
So it was there when I started my journey, and there on I kept on working. And in May 2013, to be precise, mid-May, I got a call from Mohan Bagan that needed someone to assist their existing operations manager. So, and it was a big opportunity for me, and there's just a good story about it. That very year, when I got the call in the month of January, I was asked to go to Mohan Bagan ground for some other work for Mr. Sumit Mukherjee, and that's where I was waiting for the ground secretary of the club to come because I had a work with him. And all of a sudden, I was just looking at around the pictures, the galleries, and everything was displayed, and it made me feel that why shouldn't I join this club? It will be like something big for me. Time, and it was a complete surprise for me getting a call, and I was like jumping off my chair. And it was like something very big coming on my way. I was nervous, but I was really excited about the opportunity, the call and everything. So ultimately, I gave the interview on 23rd of May, and from 1st of June 2013, I joined Mohan Bagan. So it was something like in 5 months' time, you never know when you are into a situation and God pushes you to your dreams. Just you have to stick around. So this is what happened exactly to me. And from there on, I've kept my allegiance to Mohan Bagan until now. So this was a small thing which came all the way.
Right, and it happened spontaneously for you. It wasn't pre-planned. So let me ask you another question. The day you went to the Mohan Bagan ground, the day you stepped foot, was that the first time you ever went there?
That was the first time going inside because people will say that I am exaggerating about my work in Mohan Bagan, but I was a supporter of Mohan Bagan. I used to get ticket from my uncle from Mohammedan Sporting Side Gallery, but I used to go and support Mohan Bagan because I liked watching Barreto. And I remember my first derby match was I saw was sitting in the East Bengal Gallery, which Mohan Bagan won, and the scorer was Gleia Rodrigo. So I was supporting Mohan Bagan. So people might feel that okay, he's working for Mohan Bagan, he's trying to make a story. It's not like that. I always used to travel with my uncle or with my local friends, those who would be Mohammedan Sporting supporter. But I was always go and see and support Mohan Bagan. So this was there. And that was the very first time in January 2013 when I entered Mohan Bagan tent. So that was really fascinating because things you see, things you want to follow, and ultimately comes to you. It's a very surprising thing. If you want to personify the surprise, and this is one sort of a situation for me where I can see this is what a surprise looks like. So it was exactly the same for me.
Right, right. You mentioned some interesting things because I assumed that you did not have any football background, but then you
No,
mentioned about your uncle. Uh,
mm.
yes,
So he was there into
I mean,
football.
who
He
had a
was there
strong
with
hold in football.
yeah. He was there with Mountain Sporting since 2000, since 1999, I think. So he was there almost 10, 11 years in Mountain Sporting, and he had some good connections. So I don't know how it came up because it was one evening we were talking and discussing what on, and then it all of a sudden it came to him. Said, okay, if there's a requirement, you go and see, and if they like you, it was a probation period of 3 months because they needed somebody urgently because that was a time when still there was scarcity of qualified individuals working for club. Nowadays, things have changed a lot. For during those years, it was really hard for the club people to get all those documentation done, which was said by AFA, because AFA was molding towards professionalism and trying to bring in implement club licensing. So that was a real tough situation. So they needed somebody who would understand the documents and do it precisely. And later on, they can speak to the federation and get the thing done as per the requirement. So
Right, right.
it all started there.
I'm seeing, sorry to interrupt you. I'm seeing a
No
comment
problem.
from Komron. Komron, he played for Mohun Bagan last season. He just
Yes,
commented
yes.
that you are a great individual. You are a great person first, manager second. Uh, for great person first, best manager second. So he's trying to explain that as a person you are much more better than as a professional.
It's my nature. It's in my nature. You would see that I want to make people happy. Those who are around me. It's not like that. There wouldn't be a dull moment when you're around with me. As a person, I love to enjoy, laugh, see things with good perspective, find out the positive even in the negative situation. So this is what I've enjoyed with most of the players, those who have been with me for the past 10 years. And Comron is one of them. He's very vocal about it. Many are silent about it, but he's one sort of a player who is very vocal about it.
I can see
So
that.
it's like, when I was given a task in Mohan Bagan, I used to go and receive players from the airport to start off with. So, if you are a foreigner, if you visit a different country, you need some sort of a person whom you can rely upon. So
True.
for me, I'm going to the airport. It was like the first hand experience for the player to understand the club. So if you go and meet the player and if you make him relax, you make him comfortable, because there would be butterfly in his stomach because he's coming to a country where football is developing and he has played in some top league of the country. So you need some friendly people who will make him realize that he has come to the right place, and he can settle in out here and the people are understanding. So your first impression as an employee of the club, once you're given a task, plays a very important role in making the person realize that he has not made a bad choice. So I think I did a good job by seeing the comment by Comron. So I'm happy that people are appreciating my work, my nature. This is what I always do, because you have to spread happiness, because any field you are working in, whether a IT company, whether a top MNC, the atmosphere has to be positive. And football and sports in particular, you have to be positive in every situation, because it changes every time. So always you have to carry that positive attitude, because you form the part of the management. So players and coaches, those who are involved into football team, they see you as part of management. And with your words and with your discussion, they can understand the mood of the management and what the management think about a particular player or the team or the performance. So you have to be positive. You have to make, because you are investing a lot of money onto them. So it is your responsibility to get the best out of them. And that can only happen when the outside atmosphere means outside the pitch should be positive as well. So this is a very big thing you have to understand as an administrator or as a manager or as a person very close to the team.
Great words, and I completely agree. I'm with you. It is really motivating when foreigners are appreciating you out of all the people. It's rare when people acknowledge your work,
Yeah.
appreciate you, but yeah, it does feel great. So Imran Bhai, coming to the second question, I was going to ask you this because I assumed you did not have any background, but I will still ask you. You just mentioned that there were some challenges, right, in the pre-ISL era when you started working, when there was no professionalism, when we were entering the professional phase, and there wasn't any criteria as well. There used to be some licensing criteria, but not to the extent we have now. So my question to you is, how challenging was it to work in the pre-ISL era, and especially finding jobs because you switched two, three clubs in between in that era? So how
Uh,
difficult or easy was it to get jobs in the pre-ISL era? And do you also think that people who don't have background like you or similar to you can find jobs easily, can progress smoothly in the administrative field? Do you think having a background gives an advantage? Hello, are you there?
All the Yes, I'm there. Can you hear me? Hello?
Yeah, your screen
Hello?
froze for seconds. I can hear you now. Please continue.
Yeah. Actually, yeah. So the thing is that, people that time realize that there is a need to get professional involved because things are shaping up in that direction. And, any process brought in by the federation, it takes time. And you have to have respective individual associated with the club, those who will oblige to the changes or the modernization which the federation or the association wants to bring into the footballing fraternity. So like-minded people will always get you the positive result. So for me, it was not difficult because the first-hand experience with Arian was good because there were a couple of people, a corporate was involved. So they also realized that how is important it is to have professional because that is where you are like you need someone who's answerable for a mistake. You cannot just pass on the buck. So honorary doing or voluntary work will, you will never get to the place what you want to achieve as a club. So you need professional who
True.
would be answerable to you, who would be, there to perform and to upgrade his or her standard. So definitely it is like the same as players. You do well, you get the appreciation, you get the promotion. So similarly, the importance came in and the federation played a very important role by bringing in club licensing because that's when the club realized now we have to gradually start recruiting professionals and take the club towards it because that is where you achieve your success. If you have professional players on the pitch, you cannot have your backhand team non-professional because that will not be a
True.
good amalgamation. That will never be a good amalgamation. If you want to merge them well, you have to have professional on both sets of side. So that is where you need a mind of people, those who would see. In Mohan Bagan, I had the privilege of working closely with Devashish Dotto and Srinjoy Bose, those who, revamped the entire club, I would say, in entirety. Today they have merged with ISL side, ATK. So it was their vision, it was their idea to bring in more professional people because they had read the script very well, which was brought in by the federation. That what the way we are running the club in next 10 years, it will be totally different. So that's where they strived and they got in professional involved in the backhand office in administration and putting managerial level people like me to be close with the team because that's where you come to to know more about the team because a professional will never lie to you because ultimately he will be facing dire consequences if he's not doesn't reporting is not reporting accurately. So that's where you play a very important role as a major stakeholder in the club, and these two individuals have really helped Mohan Bagan to develop as a professional club. So I was very lucky to have them as my bosses. Both Devashish Dotto has been there for more than both Devashish Dotto and Srinjoy Bose has been there in the club football for more than 25-30 years. So they have abundance of experience and they've seen everything, the pros and cons of Indian football, the changes, the ups and downs of the club. And to have them on your side, it's you can only have to learn. So and you have to apply your brain and everything gonna fall into places. So I was very lucky enough to have them in my side.
Right. I've got a question, but we were supposed to take questions later, but I'm still going to take this question from Mukesh. Do you think that most of the ISL clubs do not have a long-term vision? And how important is it to have a vision in place?
Uh, it would be quite inappropriate to say this that they don't have a vision. They really have a vision because now ISL is in the seventh season. So definitely they have a vision. But sometimes we as individuals, those who see football from the outside, we don't realize it because you cannot make a team successful in a day. To achieve success, you have to sustain, you have to implement your vision accordingly because my vision would be different from your vision. So that's why we feel that there is no vision. Definitely there's vision, and more importantly we have to give time to any sort of team or the league to prosper. So definitely there is a vision, but it will take some time. It has done the ISL has really remapped the Indian football quite beautifully in the world map, and you can see the class of players those who have come in for the past 7 years and played into ISL. So definitely there's a vision, but we as Indian, what we lack is that we only see vision with success. So that's where we are associating the two wrong adjectives together. We have to be patient, and if we are patient, then definitely we will realize about the vision, because success doesn't come in 1 year, 2 year. It takes time. Some clubs are very lucky. From day one, they hit the right buttons and get the success the very first year. But they have to continue that. So that is also very challenging. And for the club, those who are not doing well, for them it is really challenging to keep that momentum, because ultimately success helps your vision to improve. So it's either way. It's nothing like it, but definitely there is a vision, and in the long term you will come to know, like you see all the ISL clubs, they've been doing well on and off. So it happens, you will find always one two clubs doing great, and the other four five clubs finishing at the mediocre level. But it is completely absurd to say that there's no vision. Definitely their vision, and they have invested so much money and time.
Right, right, right. So, coming to your role at the club, Mohan Bagan Club, can you please tell us what is your role in the current setup, the ATK
uh,
setup, ATK Mohan Bagan?
See, I
Yeah,
was into
what
operations in
exactly is your
Mohan.
role?
Yeah, I was in operations previously before the merger when the team was playing in the I League. So I've been given the same role in this new entity, which is operations and media. So, and this is what we are doing. So now this year, due to the pandemic, the matches are happening in Goa. So it is done by the ISL people over there. All the matches is being organized by ISL people. So there's nothing much to do, but I'm very much part of the team, and we have been doing the work from home, whatever is required for to be done from my end. So things will change in next year, because obviously we hope for a normal football to happen with the spectators and everything. But this is a new normal, and we have to accept it, and hopefully we will come back to what we have been doing for the last 10 years.
So, you are not there, right, in Goa. You are
No,
working
I'm
from
not
home.
there in Goa. I'm
And
in Kolkata.
operations and all are controlled by the ISL team.
Yes, ISL, the main the FSDL is looking after the match organization and everything, and there has to be some people from the top management of the club. So they are there
Right,
to
right.
make decision, because it's happening in a confined venue, so there's not much movement and nothing changes. So there's isn't any requirement for any other people to go in there from the club side, because that has already been set up. But in normal
But
course, what we have home and away matches, so we have to set up accordingly, and there is a requirement of manpower, and then the real operation work starts. But now, since it is happening into a single venue, so ISL is doing everything.
right, right. But you must have an idea how things are inside the setup, inside that bio bubble environment. Because when
See
we
it.
look from outside, we are very, we are very keen to know what all is happening behind the scenes. How different is it? So, have you heard from players or staff in general?
See, it's very different. It's very what do I say? Very challenging for the players and for everybody, I think, because football, sports is one sort of a thing, where if you win, everything is fine, you are okay. But when you lose, you want to change, you want some sort of fresh air to get back to, sorry, to get back to the focus what you have started the tournament with. So now the players are confined to a hotel stay where they're not allowed to meet anybody. They're not allowed to roam around, because they have to be in the bubble, so that they cannot attract the virus, which has jeopardized the entire world. So this is very challenging for everybody. It's not only the players, the management, even the people, those who are working from behind, which is challenging for them, because even like people like you and me, those who are associated with football, we know how it works. Even when the team doesn't do well, we professional also feel bad, and we need a change. We want to go out with family, or we'll spend some time with some people, so that I'm not thinking about what happened yesterday, about a match we lost. So that's where we gain our collect ourselves together, and then again come back on a high and try to do what we are ought to do. So it's very challenging for players. It's to keep yourself motivated, trying to one you're seeing and talking to the same people in and around. So it's very difficult to keep yourself in that shape for a long time. And hopefully, we are doing well as a team. We're performing well, and this shows your mettle as a player, as a professional, like how uh, binded your mind is, that how focused you are. So that's where your real character comes up. So it's a good thing that Mohan Bagan is doing well, and hope we continue to do so in the future matches as well. So definitely, it's very challenging for every club. It's very challenging for the players. It's very easy for us to comment on the performance of the team. Had it been the normal course, then their criticism would have been quite apt. But the situation, what we as an individual, those who are associated with the club, can see, most of the fans cannot see that, because we have been to a situation, because there's no player in the world or no sportsman in the world who would go onto the field and want to lose a match. They all want and go and give their 100% and win the match. So we, those who have been very closely associated with the team on match day, traveling with the team, we know how it feels for a player to lose a match, and it is very difficult for them to come out of it. So people like friends, family plays a very important role in a life of a player when he's not doing well as an individual, or the team is not doing well as a whole. So for here, the players doesn't have that luxury or that leisure moment where they can think out of football. So it's really difficult, and I really hat off to the players to accept this challenge. This is a new normal what the world is facing. Definitely things will change, and we will come back to normal again. Normalcy again.
It's more challenging in Indian football because when you compare to European football, where a lot of leagues are happening, but the difference is they are traveling, they are going to different venues, they are playing both home and away matches.
Definitely.
But in India,
Definitely.
there is constantly one place, and they have to be there for 3, 4, 5 months. We don't know the timeline,
Yes,
so
yes.
it will be very challenging. And I heard some cricketers who were there, in the same setup in the IPL. They were mentally exhausted. Most of them,
Yeah,
we could
you are bound to.
analyze.
You are bound to, because you need change, because you don't gonna win every matches you play. So for a player, the focus, the attention needs a little bit of relaxation at times, because you want to come out of it. You want to see where I'm not doing well, what else we can do. Even for the coaches and everybody, those who are involved in the team, it's not that easy. So you feel, and when you lose, you are completely exhausted, because you have given your 100%. The desired result is not there, so you're bound to feel exhausted. So you
True,
need
true,
a
true.
real character and real grit to continue that way. And I really appreciate the way teams are doing it, because we know how difficult it is, because we have seen it from such a close range that we can really understand how it feels.
Right, right. Now coming to Mohan Bagan's I-League run, right? The club won the I-League as recent as this year, and you were there when Mohan Bagan won the I-League in 2015. So you were part of both campaigns. So please tell me, which campaign do you value more? Which campaign you feel you contributed more as a professional? Which one is more special to you? The 2015 one or the current one? Please give me an honest answer, okay? Diplomacy is not
At the
accepted.
outset, no, I will not be diplomatic in this. At the outset, I would say that I was lucky enough, because when Mohan Bagan won their first major trophy after 13 years, it was I League, and I was part of that team as a management, as an administrator. So it was a very great feeling, because I joined in 2013, and I saw Debashir and Trinjada was really concerned, because it was taking a toll on the club administration, because everybody was raising questions that they're not doing well as a management. There was a lot of things were at stake, and there was too much of pressure on these people, especially Mr. Srinjay Bose and Debashis Dotto. So they decided to revamp and reshuffle everything, and they just overall the entire squad. So they started very early. After the I remember when we were in Kochi playing the final of the Federation Cup against Churchill Brother. Just before that match, it all started that we have to get the team overall and get quality players in, because uh, I think it's after the match, because we lost 2-0 to Churchill. And that's when the management sat and decided that now we can't waste any time, because people are getting excited. They are getting impatient because there hasn't been any major trophy in the past 8 to 12 years. So the management, worked overtime. They discussed among themselves, and they started to find out the loopholes and where we are lacking and what sort of players we need to challenge ourselves back into the I League and the Federation Cup. So that is when it all started, and I was just joining in, and it was only about a year when this thing started to take a shape towards a better future. And I was really lucky enough to be part of this management, and that was a really learning experience for me, because I was very closely working with them, though my role was not that much big what I used to do, what I did in 2020, but it was a very important role. So that time I was learning the trades, that how you have to think, what you have to think, what are the important things you have to bring in. So that year was a learning experience, and everybody was passionate. Everybody wanted to chip in and give their best. Every individual, those who were associated with the team. So that also ignited me to do well, and that was a platform set for me. And we did all well from the outside, from the inside, and ultimately we got the result at the last day of the league. So it was really satisfying, and winning the I League after 13 years. The very next day when we started to see the newspaper and the news channel, even on that day evening after winning the I League, every channel was calling. Everybody was so excited in Bengal, especially in Kolkata. The fans, the media, it was a buzz around the club tent. I really remember that I came back home from the club tent at 2 a.m. Everybody was so happy. So that is when the bar was set. The bar was set that now we cannot go down. We have to keep the momentum floating with us, and we have to continue the performance what we have done this year. And these two guys brilliantly managed the team, especially the coaches and everybody. They did their job. Like Subhas Bhumik was there initially in the season in 2014. Then Sanjay Sen was brought in, and he did quite a shuffle, and then everything clicked. So you have to have luck along with your effort to get out the result. And from the top, like from Devashish Datta to Srinjoy Bose to the coaches to the players, every Sanjay Sen, there was Bappa, the Sanjay Ghosh, Uttam Saha. These are the individuals, those who were working so hard behind the team, day in, day out, to keep the team happy. And there were some real financial issues which we faced in 2014-15, and to overcome those barriers, financial barriers, and be victorious is something I can explain you in words. So it was good. In 2020, my role was more elaborate. I was looking after everything, and I was like an integral part of the team management, working closely with my bosses. And both were different thing, but I felt more enjoy. Like from post 2014-15, we have done well in the Indian circuit. We have won the Federation Cup next year. We were the runners of the I League. Then the next season, we again were the runners up of the I League and runners of the Federation Cup. So the graph was stacked at the top level. So it was there. And this year also we wanted to finish high, because we all came to know that next season we will be playing to ISL. There would be a merger happening soon. So you, as an individual working in the club, want to finish high, because that is when your effort will pay off. Because if you do well as an administrator, like same like player, you will get your due when the club does well. So definitely whatever I am today here is because of the past performance, what the players have done and what we have done outside the pitch. So definitely both have different experience. 2015 was real different experience. Comparing to 2020, you cannot compare the two wins. Of course, it is very satisfying, but winning something after 13 years is more satisfying than this year. Also, it was very good. The run, we were really down when we were beaten by Churchill Brothers at home, but we picked up at the right time, and then we continued and we finished off in style. So you cannot compare, because the situation in 2015 and 2020 is totally different. But yeah, I'm happy to be part of the winning team and something very successful in the past 7 years. So I'm very happy. I'm really very happy with that.
Right. Going by your excerpts, I'm just going to summarize your points. You said 2015 was a learning phase, 2020 was the execution phase, right? You implemented
Yes.
all the things you learned right from
Yes.
2015 in, in the 2020 phase. So, congratulations to you. You have done a commendable job, and it's been really interesting to hear all the things you have been saying. So, coming to the next question, Imran Bhai, you as a professional must have noticed that in some clubs, we don't have as many administrators, right? There is a difference due to obvious reasons, due to constraints that are there. So, as a result, clubs in India, especially in lower league, they have neglected, professional to an extent. So we can see not much professionals are involved. So how do you think we can, mandate a rule to add more professionals in clubs without posing a threat, to all the constraints they have, without being a financial threat or any kind of, challenge to them. So how do you think this mentality can be changed, where clubs will start hiring more professionals?
See, the regulation is in place. The club licensing, it is quite clearly mentioned that what sort of individual or professional you have to keep in the club. So now it is up to the club to be true to themselves. The federation have done their part, but as a club, if you want, you like this, we are coming back to the point raised by the uh, one of the guy who asked me about the vision. So this is where the vision starts. That how you want your administrative team to be. Do you want to falsify it by keeping two individuals and putting false name, or just to show off that we have all the
Exactly.
individuals and getting the work done by two people? That's where the vision
Right.
starts. The first vision has to be the back end office, how strong and elaborate it is, because the more number of people gives the advantage to manage the club in a very proper and professional way. So the federation in has done their part. They have taken the things from the confederation of the FIFA manual, and they've implemented the club licensing, but everything has been elaborately described that what sort of individual you need in back end office, right from the CEO to the sorry, to the finance, to the operations, to the team manager, team doctor, and so on in each and every category and segment. So it is where the vision for a club has to be there. I think because India is such a huge country and there are so many people involved into football, and most of them are passionate lover of the game. So gradually in the top level, the professional approach will come, and they will hire a professional, those who are apt for that particular job role, what has been described by the federation in the club rights licensing manual. And I think that we are definitely moving towards that way. If you see all the ISL clubs, even the I League clubs, it's not like that you put the name on the paper and you get all the certificates. No, they come, the federation people come and take interview of the individual, those whose name has been submitted in the site provided by the AFC. So you cannot hide it from there, and they come and they interview you, they ask you your motive, the job role, what you have been done. If you are a newcomer, they give you that much of time. If you have been there with the club, then you are comfortable with the question. So the federation is doing their part, and I think most of the clubs in the top league, like not in the second division, because definitely financial constraint is a huge constraint in the Indian football. Uh, but definitely with time, what I have seen in the 10 years, we have come a lot. So definitely in next 10, 15 years, it will achieve what has been targeted. So we need to give some time. And now there have been more university and specialized courses coming in sports management. So definitely, if this is a very good sign. So had there been no opportunity, then this college would have shut and people would not have taken the option of going and studying sports management. So there is an option. easy. The market is very tough, and the main reason is the finances and people. They want to keep a guy who can do multitask, which is very nature of us. Because if you want to keep a maid in a house, we ask her that what sort of work you can do. She will say, I can wash your dishes, wash your clothes, and get your house clean. So we will not go for the second option. We will just give her all the work. So this mentality is there in every club, but gradually this will change, and this will change when the team start to get success after getting the individual has been given in the licensing. So it will definitely change, and there's a positive thing
Right.
for all the youngsters to stick to their focus, and and not to be impatient, because the opportunity will come. And what the major mistake is done by the people, those who are doing the sports management, they only opt for a couple of sports like cricket and football. There are other avenues to explore. Tennis is there, indoor games are there, so you can start off with any of the sports. So if you pick and choose, then it will be a difficult thing for you. You have to grab the opportunity whatever comes your way after doing your sports management. So if you want only to stick to football or cricket, then it will be really difficult for you. If you're okay, you might have an interest into football, but you're not getting the opportunity. Okay, go for hockey, go for some sports which has a national presence, and take and ply your trade over there. Learn the tricks of the game, because it is more or less the same, because the team is there, the management is there, and it is all about the game. So you as a professional now know how to run a sports team, and that's where the experience count. So if you stick to yourself, though, I only want to be in football, that's where you marginalize your chances. Rather than going for a bigger pool, you marginalize your chances by sticking only to football and cricket. So that's where you have to be very selective, and you have to be very open that okay, I've done my sports management, I know my whole aim was to be in football, but life has not given me the opportunity. Let's try my hand into some other discipline. Now pro kabaddi is doing well, hockey is doing well, so you have to opt for these sports, and then obviously you can find your way into football if you are willing to, and if you're an experience, definitely people will take you.
Absolutely. Because most of the administrators, I'm telling you very openly, we both know it. Most of them don't even have a sports background, right? Most of them don't have the qualifications. They all came randomly and through different disciplines, different connections. So it can happen. You never know. Imran Bhai, this is just a common question, okay? I want to ask you, what are the things that people who are aspiring to become administrators should keep in mind all the time? Uh, what are the most important things to excel as an admin in football or any sport? And what are the mistakes that you have observed during your tenure so far? What are the common mistakes that management people make, especially the newer ones?
See, I was really lucky enough to have the experience of working in a smaller club. I knew the challenges over there, because working for Mohan Bagan has been a real different experience altogether, because it's such a huge brand, because wherever you go, working for Mohan Bagan will always definitely get you the attention. You will be in the limelight from the day one, and people will, pamper you because of your lineage to a club which is historically bigger than any club in India. So I had this humble background coming from Indian club. I knew the challenges what small club faces, because at times we always do that. You always pamper your most cherished child. So everybody have 4 or 5 children, but one or two becomes parents' most cherished child. So for me, working in Arian was a great experience. Thanks to Almighty that I did there for 3 years, and then later I joined Mohun Bagan. So for all the professional, those who want to be into football, first of all, try your hand at smaller clubs or federation doing intern. After doing intern, if you get opportunity into any club, if you want to go for football or cricket, just get yourself associated with a club. Just learn the tricks, because it's the one and the same thing. The the quantity of the work, the quantum of the work will increase, but the basic nature of the sports and the functioning of the club would be the same. So
True.
what we fail to understand after doing our studies is that to realize that no, we want to go and be a big. You see all the players, those who have been playing in the top European league, they had somewhere started for smaller clubs and gradually by performing they have upgraded themselves and got millions of dollars contract. So it didn't happen overnight. Similarly, if you want a good career in sports federation as an administrator, you have to start off with a very humble background. You have to learn the tricks and trades of the club functioning, and then you will understand the mentality that how things are function. Then you will come to know the common things into football. Sorry. So whether it's Mohun Bagan or any other club playing in the I League, the regulation is the same, the pattern of work is the same, and everything is the same. It's just how you carry yourself. Like you are working for Mohun Bagan, so you have to carry yourself in that particular manner because you are representing a very historical legacy-based club. So you cannot be childish, you cannot be stupid. You have to be like cool, calm, and you have to study things minutely, and you have to be very precise in your talking because ultimately you will be questioned more because people will look up to you. So if you are being looked up, so that's where you get more responsibility as an individual. In smaller clubs there will be a lot of situation where you can handle it roughly and you will get carried away and people will not notice it. But when you are working for a top club like Mohun Bagan or some of the other like East Bengal, you have to be very, very, subtle. You have to be very polite. You have to be very humble because that's where you carry yourself along with the club. So your identity will be associated with the club. So whatever you do, it will be on the club side. So you have to be very thing. And most importantly, you have to have that hunger to learn the thing first rather than just after doing my studies and go and run a big club. No, you have to be very much flexible in your approach when you come out, that I'm gonna do this is my ultimate aim. Like we talk about vision in everything, so vision is very important for an individual as well. So what you see yourself in next 5 years, so you have to start from here, and then you have to find, okay, I if you get an opportunity for a certain club, then you okay, this is what I have been planning, this is my plan is in the next 5 years, oh, this is the right platform for me, so you join in. And if you don't find it exciting, if you don't find it according to your vision, then you have can change, you can sway away, you can wait for more time or appropriate club or appropriate field to get yourself accommodated with. So you have to be patient. And definitely, if you are patient, if you have that eagerness to learn, because everything what you learn in the colleges doesn't happen exactly in the outside world. It is way too different what the books tells us. So you have to come out of the books and face the real world. And to face the real world, you have to start with small things like you have done with Lucas Soccer Club. So you know it how things start.
Thank you. True. You gave a fantastic answer and you elaborated all the points finely. So, viewers who are watching this broadcast, these are the things you need to keep in check all the time if you are aspiring to work in football, especially in the management department. So, I would like to remind our viewers that alongside being an assistant operations manager of ATK Mohun, you are also an AIFF accredited match commissioner. So, how did that match commissioner thing happen? Tell me this
See,
first.
this
Who
is
gave you the idea? Yeah.
See, like every year, the federation, all the federation, those who are the member of the AFC, they're given some plan. So as a federation, you have to submit your plan and to make yourself independent. Like if your father is not a proper professional, you try to educate the club, then there's no pinpointing, there's no finger pointing. Okay, you do yourself first. So that's where the federation, they are being given some plan that we have to have so much of referees by 2020, so much of match commissioner by 2020. So these are the things which is tasked out by the AFC to the federation, to all the federations.